Hello, welcome back. The next thing we're going to talk about is adding sound to the game. Sound is a very important element of the game. Um, it can really make your game excel. Essentially, it should be possible. It's been said, actually, by George Lucas, I think it was said that you should be able to turn off the screen and only listen to the audio and get a feel for where you're at any point in the movie. And that's what he said about the creation of his Star Wars trilogy. Well, and then eventually also the prequels, but more importantly the first three. But um, you should be able to get the same effect with a game. If you think about any of your favorite games, probably sound was very important to them, and if you would turn away, you would be able to tell what's going on at any given time. So we're going to add sound to it. Sounds very, as I said, very underrated, and that's something that we're going to want to have in our game. Now, Microsoft has provided us with a number of sounds. We've got a explosion sound. We've got a laser firing sound. A some game music that was created, as well as some menu music that was created. So the menu stuff we're going to get to a little bit later, but for now we're going to add the rest. And the very first thing we need to do is create some basic sounds in our variables list. Our variables list is getting pretty long here. We've got all this stuff. Um, but at the bottom we're going to add our sounds. So we've got the sound to be played when the laser is fired, a sound to be played when the enemy dies, and the gameplay music itself. Now the variable name for these should be sound effect. And then we're going to call it laser sound, and sound effect explosion song, and song gameplay music. Those are the three new variables that we're going to be adding. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to load up the content for these. So we go down to our infamous load content section where we've got a bunch of stuff already, and we put in gameplay music equals content.load as a song sound slash game music. I had to put the sound slash in here because sound is a subdirectory underneath shooter content. Likewise with laser fire and with explosion. So we should now see this content loaded, and then we're going to do a play music right away in the load content section as well, because we want to just start playing that pretty much immediately and play music, gameplay music. Now again, you can load up and listen to these as a preview just to hear what they sound like, but I also wanted to show you something else that is useful for sounds called Audigy. Or, oops, sorry, I meant by that Audacity. Audacity is the one that you want. Audigy is actually a creative sound card. That's not what we're after. We're after Audigy. Audigy is a freeware, open source version of professional sound packages, such as, for example, WWise and SoundForge are professional versions of this, but this version is just fine for our needs. I'll actually put a link to this in case you want to make your own sounds. If we go and we open up, for example, any given WAV file, I'm going to go ahead and open up the WAV files that we're looking at in question here. Projects, shooting things, and inside my content folder I have some of these sounds. So here's our laser fire sound, and you can actually see the sound wave itself. You can play it from any given position. You can increase the intensity here. You can do anything you want. Pretty much, you can record new sounds. You can change the compression rate on this, and all kinds of stuff. So this is a very useful tool. For our part now, we don't really need to bother with it too much because, as I said, Microsoft has created these for us. So I'm just going to go ahead and close out of this. But for your games that you're going to create, this might be a helpful tool for you. And this again is Audacity, and I'll put a link up to that. So we've loaded our effects here, our sound effects. We've even made a call to play music, which doesn't exist yet, so it's going to give us an error. What we need to do is we need to create a play music function. So we're going to say private void play music song. It's going to take a song as a parameter. Now, due to the way the media player plays music, we need to do a try-catch loop. The try-catch loops are basically a way of catching exceptions. So what it does is you try a bunch of code, and if it fails, it will come into this catch statement, and you can actually handle the errors inside of the catch statement. However, in our case, we don't really care about that. This is simply needed by the media player.play functionality. You have to put this try loop around, so we say try left bracket media player.play song media player.is repeating equals true, so we can loop it. So now, most importantly, we want to actually play these at the appropriate times, so when the laser is shooting and when the explosion happens. So let's go ahead and find that place where the laser is shooting. That'll be where add projectile is added. So actually one useful thing you can always do, if you never know, is you can go up, programmers in real life, so to speak, use this quite a bit. You can always go up to find in files, find and replace, find in files, and you can say add projectile and find all. And that gives you a list of wherever add projectile was actually used. And we can click on that and we can see that, okay, here we are. And this is the actual code that's responsible for adding the projectile. So that's where we want to play the sound. So we're going to say laser sound.play. And similarly, we want to do something when the enemy dies. So when the enemy dies, we know that he's going to be set to active false here. And we want to do this around the same time that we draw the explosion. So I'm just going to do a quick search. To do a quick search, I can always type in the word that I need here. Then I can hit F3. And F3 will go to the first occurrence of that word from the point at which you are at on the cursor. So I'm just going to go through here until I find the correct spot, and it looks like it's right here. If not active and health less than 0, add explosion. It's probably a good spot to play the explosion sound. And you notice that it's completed for me, tab completed there, explosion sound dot play. Play explosion sound. Okay, so next we're just going to play this. This should work. We should be able to hear our enemy sounds and our explosion sounds, that is, and our laser sound and the music playing in the background, and everything is great. So I can hear it and I'm all good. And already you can see it starts to add quite a bit to the game. So there we are. Alright, next up we're going to add health. So there's some element of a challenge to this game. And we're going to add score, so the player gets an additional reward. That's going to be our simple UI for the game. And that is it for now. See you next time.